you mentioned this is a love story between Chris and Kit.
Yeah, yeah.
In many ways, the film is a love story.
Yeah.
As a filmmaker, talk to me about the challenges, the difficulty of telling a love story in a documentary form when one of the two people is gone, and how were you able to put Kit's life force, if you will, into the film?
Thank you. That's something we worked very hard on. As I mentioned, I'm a long-time cinematographer, and I know just like artistic thinking, there's adversity and there are formal challenges, and you can think like, you have to think beyond like, oh my God, this is a real problem. I'm never going to be able to do it. You know, like I'm trying to make a story about two people. One of them's not here and one of them's very much alive. And how do you show, how do you communicate that relationship? It's like, okay, one of them's dead. Okay, problem. Well, okay, where's the solution? What attracts you to this relationship? They're opposites. They're opposites. There's a contrast. Okay, hey, living and dead is a contrast. Work with it. Use it to emphasize the story. And actually the way that we worked with Kit, in the ether, I mean, for me, we really thought about like, okay, how do we have a presence that actually enhanced, I mean, we worked on that quite a lot, but you feel him very presently in the film. And yeah, it's just one of those things, turning a formal challenge to your benefit. Now, thankfully, these guys were filmed.
Right.
So and there were details that were really great. When we first met with Pete, he told me that Kit, had this practice of always running a tape in the studio when they were working, and I'm like, oh my God, I gotta get that right now. It wasn't that exact thing that we got, but there was Pete's office, especially through a wonderful gentleman named Bob Pridden, who's been a huge part of the audio component of the Who. They personally, and this is one of the things over time, they see that you're really trying to get a sense you're really trying. Initially it might be a neat idea and they might want to help, but when they start seeing you're invested in a process, you want to help more and more. They went into a lot of the audio recordings, the sessions, and were able to bring another idea where we would get a lot of Kit's audio on talkback. And there's there's like an ether, there's an essence, but not only of him, but of his process.
Yeah.
So the audience is hearing him interacting with the band, but the audience also hears him interacting with them. And there's also something about the non-linearity of not being seen, that evokes a whole other type of spiritual presence or whatever. So we just tried to take the advantages and use them to our, the challenges, use them to our advantage.
Chris and Kit set out to make a movie.
A movie, yeah.
And they ended up really creating a revolution, musical revolution in many ways.
Yeah.
I'm curious if, in a way, Lambert and Stamp is the fruition of that movie that they set out to make so many years ago, and did Chris have a chance to see it in any form, rough cut, any form, before he passed?
The earlier part of your question about, like, Chris Stamp actually went on a radio interview. He did a fabulous talk at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a couple of years before he passed. And somebody asked him, well, what are you involved in? He said, well, there's a film being made that I'm participating in on my relationship with Kit Lambert. And as some people may know, Kit and I went out to make a movie, not manage a band, but we ended up, doing both. We abandoned the idea for the film due to, the work with the Who kind of sidelined that. And this filmmaking team making the story on Kit and I, as I mentioned, that I'm involved in, and that film is a continuation in my heart of that film.
And did he have a chance to see it?
No, he did not, sadly. And I should mention that all throughout the process, the 10-year process of making the film, he never asked to see it. He never demanded. I didn't hold it back from him or anything. I mean, in making a nonfiction feature film, I prefer not to show the subject there just for consciousness. Sure. But when he agreed to do the film, he agreed to me making the film that I wanted to make. And you know, he's very much a man about process. The end product would be what the end product would be, but the process and the relationship of making the film with me was the tangible, was the reality. And when we were in that, what was going to be done with it is just something he trusted.